Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for this opportunity and allow us, Yordan Gunawan, Mustafa Gifara, and also M. Fabian Akbar to present our paper on international environmental violence conflicts analysis, Israel versus Gaza in 2024. As we know, the long-standing conflict between Israel and Palestine, deeply rooted in historical territorial disputes, has remained unresolved for decades, perpetuating cycles of violence and instability in the area's region. In 2024, today, the situation has escalated further, with conditions in both territories continuing to deteriorate. This persistent turmoil has resulted in the extensive destructions of critical infrastructure, including transportation network, residential areas, and public facilities, which are vital for the daily lives of the populations. Additionally, the conflict has severely impacted the environment, causing deforestations, water contaminations, and the depletions of natural resources. These factors, coupled with the loss of livelihood and diminished economic opportunities, have led to a state of economic instability and prolonged humanitarian crisis. The far-reaching consequences of the conflict highlight the urgent needs for a comprehensive and sustainable resolutions to restore peace, rebuild infrastructure, and address the environmental and economic challenges faced by both communities. The war caused greenhouse gas emissions, and according to Nina Lahani, one of the climate justice reported analysis, more than 99% of the estimated 281,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide or CO2 equivalent produced in the first 60 days after the Hamas attack on October 7. It is conflicts using weapons used in combat reduce oxygen levels, for example, vacuum bombs, phosphorus bombs, and others, while increasing the concentrations of CO2, NOx, and SO2, and other toxic gases and particulates, which were more severe than the atomic bomb fall in Japan in World War II. So our problem formulations in our paper is, first, how international law can reduce environmental degradation caused by fighting, and then how the role of international organizations such as the United Nations and UNEP in effort to reduce environmental damage to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I'm going to talk about the applications of international environmental law in war itself. The first is we can see that Israel has not ratified all major international humanitarian law treaties, including the 1977 ENMOD Convention, which is an important instrument for international disarmament law and environmental protections. But the Palestinians, vice versa, ratified that agreement in 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, Article 1 of the ENMOD Treaty prohibits states from using techniques of modifying a military or hostile environment that could cause significant harm to other state parties. Palestine ratified the agreement in 2017. However, Israel has not signed or ratified it since then. Environmental preservation during the Israel-Palestinian armed conflict is, of course, we call this problematic. Nonetheless, the CCW of 1980 was also drafted with similar objectives to ENMOD. And Protocol 3 on the prohibitions of restrictions of the use of incendiary weapons explicitly deals with environmental conservations. The CCW prohibits or restrict the use of certain types of weapons that are considered to cause undesirable or unacceptable suffering to humans and the environment. Israel absolutely ratified the convention in 1995, and Palestine did so in 2015. As a result, both parties to the conflict are obliged to comply with the environmental protection set forth by the CCW during hostilities. Ladies and gentlemen, since 1967, military operations by Israel government have resulted in the destructions of about 2.5 million trees in the occupied Palestinian territories, including more than 1 million olive trees and important sources of income in the area. The eradication of native trees and plants has exacerbated the fragmentation of local species habitats, accelerating biodiversity decline and desertification in Gaza. Rockets and missiles not only pose an acute humanitarian crisis and destructions of property, but also pose dangerous consequences that last a long time. Toxic residues from metals, plastics, and e-waste significantly contaminate the soil, resulting in widespread pollutions of local farms. Agricultural areas are experiencing desertification, soil erosions, and land degradations. The entire occupied Palestinian territory, comprising the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, experienced environmental change and degradation before the escalations of the conflict on October 7, 2023. In a 2020 report, the United Nations Environment Programme, or UNEP, identified many significant factors contributing to environmental change in the occupied Palestinian territories. Now, we are going to talk about the role of United Nations in halting environmental damage due to the war in Gaza. We already know that United Nations is leading organization, so more than 19 member states that collaborate to maintain peace and security, resolve disputes and conflicts through treaties and agreement among member states. And when we see the Chapter 7, and according to its chapter of the United Nations Charter, including Articles 39, 41 and 42, if a country exhibits an escalation of aggressive behavior that threatens peace and security, it can be dealt with strict measures. The role of the United Nations has been consistently impartial in maintaining peace in Palestine and Kashmir, as both territories are occupied by the important states that recognize historical claims to the territories. In case of significant environmental degradation and violation of peace and security, including human rights violations during the Israel-Palestinian armed conflict, the global community can take international action, of course. The United Nations Security Council is mandated by the UN Charter to uphold international peace and security. And as a result, UN member can participate in international intervention regarding the Israel-Palestinian conflict in accordance with the landmark of the United Nations General Assembly resolutions of 1950. Of course, this resolution is referred to as United for Peace, and according to the resolutions, in the event of a breach of peace or an act of aggression, including unarmed conflict, all UN members have intervened on Israeli-Palestinian armed conflict to uphold or restore international peace and security. The United Nations established the International Criminal Court, or ICC, which was established in 2003 to prevent crimes such as genocide, crime against humanity, war crime, and acts of aggressions. We already know also the establishment of the responsibility to protect, which is a significant initiative by the United Nations to protect Palestinians from external aggressions. It can protect individuals from Palestinians who are kidnapped or abducted by the Israeli army. The main achievement of the UN and Palestine is to safeguard the basic right of the Palestinian populations, which is affected by Israel annexations. UNRWA, or United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees, offers essential services to Palestinian refugees living in poverty in different regions of the world, including free education, healthcare, and food assistance. Under UNRWA, 2 million people have returned to Palestine, living independently in their home countries. So take a look at also the responsibilities of UNEP on Israeli-Palestinian environmental issues. We have to see the historical things about UNEP, which was established in 1972 after a summit of environmental and development held in Stockholm, Sweden. The meeting brought together global leaders and initiated environment movement around the world. And as an organization engaged in the field of environment, UNEP has played an important role in fostering environmental awareness, formulating international environmental policies and standards, and assisting member countries in addressing complex environmental challenges. UNEP has been instrumental in negotiating various environment agreements around the world, such as the Convention on the Biological Diversity and also Kyoto Protocol. UNEP coordinates environmental initiatives within the framework of the UN and offers technical support to countries in implementing environmental policies. And we also already know, ladies and gentlemen, UNEP plays an important role in the Palestinian-Israel conflict by encouraging international collaborations on environmental issues. UNEP also facilitates negotiation between countries to reach consensus on environmental issues, including the Paris Agreement on climate change and the Convention on Biological Diversity. In addition to promoting international collaborations, UNEP can also offer leadership in addressing environmental challenges. UNEP can conduct research and offer also an advice on optimal techniques for environmental management. The UNEP strive to raise awareness and advocate for environmental issues on a global scale, and UNEP has raised awareness and advocate for environmental issues on a global scale. UNEP also has started a campaign to raise awareness about plastic pollutions and the importance of sustainable consumption and productions. UNEP's involvement is actually anticipated to reduce environmental damage to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to talk about the conclusions of our presentations. The Israel-Palestine conflict highlights the needs for stronger environmental safeguards in humanitarian law. Treaties like UNMUD and CCW face challenges to the limited enforcement. Infrastructure damage worsen socioeconomic issues and harm the ecosystem. Solutions include international cooperations, would be better education on wartime conservations, and stronger legal protections. UNEP and United Nations play key roles in promoting collaborations and reducing environmental harms. So that's all from us. Thank you very much. Any questions, suggestions, and recommendations are very welcome. Billahi fisabil haq, fasabiqul khairat. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.